Hey Peaches, thank you for clicking to hang out with me for a little while. I really appreciate you choosing my video because I know there's a lot of them out there. This pick a card today is going to be about leveling up to power couple status. So it's going to show your strengths as a couple, your weaknesses as a couple, and what you can work on together to heal and strengthen your bond to power couple level, right? So it is great if you're partnered, but you can also use it if you're single and have your eye on somebody, so you can kind of get an idea of what your compatibility might be like with that person and the healing that you can do on yourself to bring that type of connection in. So, but the first thing I'm going to do is to pull a card to see if anyone will win a free version of the last reading I did, the reality versus illusion one. I will link to that video below so you know what I'm talking about. But anyone that commented on that video, a tarot card, we're going to find out right now if the one that you felt intuitively guided to guess is it. And it is the High Priestess. So if you commented the High Priestess on the video for that reading, you have won a free version of it. And I'll go check the comments and to see if that is you. And it might be more than one person. It can be more than one person. So if you'd like to win a free version of this one I'm about to do, the Power Couple one, please comment on this video any tarot card. The max is 2, whatever you feel an affinity with or whatever you feel guided to guess, and I will pull the winner on the next video. I'll use this deck on the next video and I will pull the winner. So that if you don't want to miss out, that's a really great reason to subscribe. And so I have already meditated and shuffled the cards, and if you want to skip the part where I pull the stacks, you can check the timestamp and you can go right to where you choose your stacks. But some people like to see the cards get pulled, and so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get that out of the way. There will be 3 stacks. And oh, the deadline will be in the description box for when you can get your guesses in to win this one. 2 and I should probably shuffle them a little bit off so if they fall, you don't see. This is the Journey of Love Oracle, and I'm using it just to get the overall theme for each one. Let's see, where do these need to be? Okay. And now we're going to pull the strengths of the couple in stack 1. What are their strengths? And I'm using the Shadowscapes Tarot. And the weaknesses for anyone that chooses stack 1. And what does stack 1 need to heal? All right, now stack 2. Strengths as a couple. And weaknesses as a couple. And what do they need to work on together to heal? Okay, and stack 3, strengths as a couple. Weaknesses as a couple. And what they need to work on together to heal. Okay, and I'll choose some pretty stones. There's that one, and that one. All right, I'm going to turn these around so you can zoom in and choose your stack. All right, here are the stacks. This is 1 and this is 2. Stack 3. The timestamps are on the screen and in the description. Take a moment to feel which one has a message for you. If you are interested in more than one person or poly, you can choose more than one, of course. All right, I'll be quiet. All right, so let's look at stack 1. Let's see, where do I want it? Over there. 10 of Cups, Ace of Cups in reverse, Nine of Pentacles. The ethereal touch. Okay, let's get everything placed because that matters. All right, so if you chose stack 1, this overall theme, the ethereal touch card, this is an energy that invites you to open up to receiving and also generosity. So it's kind of like to open up in general. I feel like it also highlights touch as a love language and how that may be an important tool, especially on the second card here I'm seeing. It makes sense with these actually that there is room for more physical contact or affection to strengthen the bond. All right, so let's look at your strengths. You have the Nine of Pentacles for your strengths as a couple. This is showing you both being fiercely independent. So for some of you, it looks like the two of you being like it's the two of you against the world, okay? Your own little bubble, and like you have no need for the approval of others. You may own a business together or have a way of generating a comfortable lifestyle together. So for others, this may manifest like you're each financially independent, and that might not be the most romantic thing to hear today, but it shows that neither of you are with the other because you count on them for material support. This shows that you choose each other every day because, well, for love and companionship, and there's none of that financial obligation creating ulterior motives to make it work. So anytime one of you wants to walk away, you can, but you don't because you love each other. Neither of you feels responsible for the other, and I see a lot of mutual respect and admiration here, especially for each other's self-care and ability to create your own abundance. I think you're probably really good about taking and honoring each other's alone time. So knowing when you need it and knowing when they need it and honoring that because you know it's healthy. So like, yeah, no codependence. I'm seeing like a very refreshing lack of codependence. This type of energy, it really inoculates a relationship against that loss of respect that can creep in when someone isn't taking care of themselves, or you wonder if they're with you for your money, or feeling like someone isn't carrying their weight. Yeah, you both really carry your weight. I'm seeing this makes it nice for enjoying each other's company because you aren't harboring resentments or arguing about money. And you respect each other's careers, I think. Even if someone stays home, you respect what they contribute. What each person contributes is respected. It feels like you have a really nice enclosed system of pleasure and joy. It reminds me of there's a lyric, it's like, baby, why don't we go somewhere only we know? It's like, just you two. I feel like you two are best friends, and there's not a big like social circle around you creating drama. And there is a tremendous amount of trust and admiration here between you, and gratitude as well. Beautiful. Okay, so for your weaknesses, the weaknesses of the relationship, the Ace of Cups in reverse. With all of that independence can come the occasional coldness. If you do run a business together, or each are very individually career-oriented, affection could find itself a little lacking at times or overlooked. Maybe you get too busy working together to play together is what I'm seeing. That's why I love this ethereal touch card with this. Oops. Glare. It's calling you to use your hands more, whatever that means for your specific relationship. I can see some complacency. Let's see. Like I was saying about being best friends without a lot of external drama, ask yourself if that doesn't create a little bit of taking each other for granted at times. The extreme version of this would be if you ever have that preconception that love is always going to feel like it did in the beginning, and when it becomes comfortable and that kind of lovesick butterfly feeling eases off, that preconceived notion of what love should feel like can make you question if you are really still in love. So I can see someone starting fights just for the emotional high of making up, or to like stir up passion if it's been feeling dull. So keep an eye on your intimacy and make time for it. I'm getting the sense that someone here might think that if it isn't spontaneous, then it doesn't count. I can assure you that prioritizing intimacy when your lives would otherwise displace it, it shows a ton of commitment and love. And this ethereal touch card is all about the healing power of touch. So don't take for granted how important it is to put your hands on each other. Consensually, of course. So what you might need to heal, whether you need to work on this alone or together as a couple, well, I'm seeing both. Okay. I think that I want to hold this up. Look at that couple there. This is the most beautiful depiction of the Ten of Cups I think I've ever seen. Examine your beliefs about happily ever after. Examine your beliefs about soulmates. Do you believe you can only have just one, or that we have many for the different like chapters of our lives, or different people that match us where we are developmentally? I'm not promoting one or the other, but this is the type of concept that you need to do some shadow work regarding. Like, is some of this independence, which on one hand does serve the relationship on one level, does it keep you from completely merging with the other on a more spiritual level because of some doubts or cynicism or past trauma even? Like, are you a never again after heartbreak type person? Do you have limiting beliefs around the possibility of what it means to have it all? What is it that's holding you back from bliss? Something is holding you back from from going to that next level. I'm seeing almost a fear of contentment. That happily ever after is either boring for some of you or unattainable for some of you. At least you feel like it might be. A fear of getting too comfortable could keep you from ever connecting completely. Or are you afraid of losing yourself in the other? With the Nine of Pentacles, I can really see where someone may fear losing their identity, losing their uniqueness, becoming a they. I used to hate, so back in my first marriage, I used to hate being referred to as the so-and-sos, you know, oh, look, it's the so-and-sos. And that just, where you stop being your name and being your last name. So while this is really tied to your strength, it's almost kind of a wedge to a degree. I feel like the answer to healing this is to take a look at those core beliefs and see if they still resonate with you or if they're holding you back, and to touch each other more if that feels right. I feel like that's really important, to pay attention to your affection and your intimacy, and that might need to be highlighted or prioritized with this kind of independent Pentacles energy. One more thing. Okay, your definition of family. A power couple is a power couple with or without children. Biological, adopted, blended, whatever. Maybe you're a family of 2, maybe you're a family of 10. You two need to reconcile your pictures, each of your pictures of perfect lives, into one harmonious version that you can both work towards together in alignment. And that's what I have for you. Let me know in the comments if this resonated, if it helps, if you are in a couple like this, or if you have your eye on someone and this is kind of feels like it could be about them and what your life together might look like. I would love to know and hear. Thank you so much. All right, stack 2. Let's see what you got. You have the King of Cups in reverse, the Queen of Swords in reverse, and the Page of Swords in reverse. Okay. And then from the Journey of Love, you have Contemplation. First, I want to point out that this card is a 69, which breaks into a 6. That's a number of balance and harmony, stability and mutuality. Plus, this is a symmetrical number. So before I even dive into the cards, I can see right off that you're marrying each other in all that I'm about to say about these. The meaning of the card itself is about going within and asking the right questions before you can really get the right answers. And this bears out, you've got these reverse swords cards here, and that is going to be talking about looking at what questions arise for you in meditation or silence or in dreams. And that's going to make more sense as I go over these. So for your strengths, you have the Page of Swords in reverse, and that's kind of an interesting character to get for the strength, but I see what they're getting at here. It's what I do, after all. So first of all, it is a very young energy, so you two may be entering into this without a lot of experience, which can be a good thing because it implies not too much baggage, and also no weird power dynamics due to age differences. I see you both, it's like you're wide-eyed and ready to dive in, experience something new. And I'm wondering if this isn't your first serious relationship. There's kind of the energy of that here as well. And that's just maybe for some of you. And what I really love about this, though, is that you only have eyes for each other. No one's peeping other people's profiles or exchanging questionable texts. There is a refreshing loyalty here. And you share this in the relationship too. Like, that trust means that no one, it's not just that it isn't happening, but it reflects in the way you behave. No one's, that trust means that no one has to hide their phone, or no one has to watch what the other is doing. There's no looking over the shoulder. And so because you know you're all in on each other. And I love that so much, that you have so much to learn from this relationship, where so many others are about unlearning toxic patterns. You get to learn new patterns here and set new ones. So there's a lot of enjoyment here without overthinking, and I like that. But as we get into this more, I'm going to point out where some contemplation might do you some good, okay? So in the weaknesses of the relationship, the Queen of Swords in reverse. So while there are the occasional old couple that have only ever been with their first loves, most couples fall by the wayside due to resentment that accumulates. And this has the potential with, this young love, it has the potential to go the distance if you can prevent that resentment from taking root. So with the reverse Queen of Swords, you definitely both need to be more mindful of your words and the sharpness of your tongue. With this contemplation energy, think before you speak and work on your listening skills as well. I would ask more questions. Yeah, do more asking and probing than telling. And actually, your third card is pretty helpful and relevant on how to actually approach this. It's like there's a line between carefully choosing your words for compassionate and effective communication versus manipulation. And the Queen of Swords in reverse can be manipulative. So communication is a means to an end, but that end here is understanding, not to influence the behavior of another. And so this begins with understanding yourself. So you have something to be understood. You can't be honest with your partner if you aren't being honest with yourself. And there's some danger of projecting with this, so this contemplation energy is crucial. Know thyself, as they say. I really feel like any communication issues you all share stem from insufficient self-reflection. And that actually tracks with the Page energy. You're just young, really, but there's no lack of love, like I was saying, in your strengths. You are focused on each other. There's no outside influence and no paranoia, just a need to focus inward more. My first marriage fell victim to this. High school sweethearts, right? We had gotten together so young that so much of our self-knowledge and growth was through the lens of being in that relationship and very little of who we were as individuals. So as far as what you need to heal, and this will help with all of this stuff too, the reverse King of Cups, if that all sounds kind of vague and like a tall order, like I don't get it, what you need to heal card, this is, it's going to be a more specific guidance character. This is all about your emotional intelligence and your ability to be vulnerable. Paired with this Queen of Swords, he can inform more effective communication. So things like replacing accusations and blame and stuff like that with sentences that start with I feel, I fear, or I need. But before you can even do that, you have to know yourself enough to complete that sentence, right? So there's a need to go within before saying things. With the Page of Swords, you may not know each other that well, I feel. And what an amazing way to get to know each other and grow together. Like, I see like two trees spiraling around each other. So find out from yourself what you really fear. What do you really need? And ask point blank for specific reassurance. Because I feel like each of you wants to, give the other what they need and give them reassurance around what they fear. And unless you know what that is, they can't know, okay? So show your true vulnerability. Show where you feel like you're not enough instead of cutting them down. I've seen that happen. So if you can do your work before coming to the table, you can avoid this resentment. And I promise you. And remember that you're not that different. You both have fears and insecurities. So become each other's protector and each other's nurturer. Use tools like when they tell you something, what I'm hearing is. Say what I'm hearing is and bounce it back and allow them to clarify or to verify or to tell you that you have it wrong. And they can say it again, maybe in a way that makes more sense to you. So contemplation talks about asking the right questions before looking for answers. And these are questions into your own emotions, getting to know yourself on the deepest level before trying to understand anyone else. I think we all want to be with someone who reflects back to us how we want to see ourselves in the best light. And that's why it's so important to know who you are, so you recognize a toxic person or a toxic connection. You'll know because that person will reflect back to you someone, like a version of yourself that you don't like. And if you haven't done your work and questioned yourself, you could fall victim to believing that that version is real. So I got stuff falling everywhere. So whereas stack 1 felt more like an established couple, this one feels like one that you might be considering and looking at. I don't think that you need answers on who they are or how to win them over. I think you need to explore yourself so well that it's more of a matter of recognizing power couple potential in another when you see it, because they'll reflect back to you the best version of yourself. Even if you can't be that all the time, like none of us can, but they will always see it in you. It's like if you look in a distorted mirror, right? Like in real life, a funhouse mirror, you know it's the mirror and not you that's all wavy and weird, because you know pretty much what you look like, right? So it can be the same thing with people mirroring. Like the only way you know you're looking at a distortion is to know yourself accurately. Okay? Let me know in the comments if this is a relationship that you're in or the one that you're just kind of considering and looking at. And let me know if any of this makes sense or if you have questions. I'd love to talk about it more. And I will talk to you next week. Thank you. Okay, let's see what you got for stack 3. You have the Knight of Cups, the Nine of Wands, the World in reverse. Okay, 3 to 1. Okay, so this is an energy of joining, actually. It's becoming one or combining energies to create a new one. For some of you, this card could mean a child, but that's not exactly specifically what it means, so that's just for a few of you out there. It's just one way it can manifest. So it can be anything that you're creating together, like a business or a book or new versions of yourselves, maybe a household even, but it's something, what it is basically, something will be coming to exist in this world only because you two are together. So that's like your overall theme. Now, for the strengths of your relationship, you have the World in reverse. So like, okay, the World upright is like a huge karmic ending. So while the Death card or the Ten of Swords can be more challenging endings, this one is more celebratory, like the credits rolling at the end of a great movie. In reverse like this, so I don't really go too much into twin flame energy, but of the 3 stacks, this one is the closest thing to it. I would say this one shows you being together like for lifetimes, and that it's eternal and it never ends. You work so well together spiritually that the work just is never done. You're always needed, like a dream team, like a spiritual dream team. And I also feel like it never seems to get old because you're so focused on the journey and the present and not any destination. It's so weird how this is like the opposite of the advice from the first stack, and it just goes to show how everyone's different and what's healthy for one couple doesn't translate for all. Anyway, yeah, being grounded in the present, you have so much gratitude for each other. It's ridiculous. I love it. Dreaming together. So it's like, I think when you're together, time just stops. The world stops turning, and it's just you. You know what it reminds me of? There's an episode of Futurama, it might be the last one actually, when time gets frozen and Leela and Fry, for some reason they aren't frozen, and they live their whole lives, they grow old together, while the whole rest of the world is just like, and then when time gets going again somehow, they're like, you want to go around again? They're like, yeah. They're all in to do it again. So I can hear you guys saying things like, I would choose you over again 1,000 times or something like that. Like, what's that song? I've loved you for 1,000 years and I'll love you for 1,000 more. Like, yeah, I love it. Okay. So for the weaknesses, the 9 of Wands. The 9 of Wands doesn't come up in a reading without there being some history. This is a huge indicator that there's history being talked about. So even your weaknesses card does corroborate this long-standing, timeless bond. So I have to ask, why are you waiting for something, like for the other shoe to drop? Why do you worry like that 50-50 breakup statistic is going to affect you? You could very easily be, and you have so far been on the everlasting side of that statistic. And it shows here that it's going to continue. Your energy does feel very vigilant and watchful, and I do kind of like how this prevents you from taking each other for granted, but you could sometimes see signs of disaster that don't really mean that. It's like, for all you've been through together, all of the battles that you've won together, all the battles that you've come out victorious together, you still hold some part of yourself back in reserve. It is interesting to have the 9 of Wands with the World in reverse. Like, you're anticipating some huge ending that just never materializes, and the longer you go, the more sure you are that your luck is going to run out. But that's the thing, though, is that it's not luck, it's divine contract. And with the world reversed like this, there's not an expiration date written into it. If this keeps you from becoming lax in how you take care of each other, that's great. And if it keeps you from losing yourself in the other and maintaining your identity, that's great too. But let's turn to the what needs to heal card to get a better view of the downside and see how we can keep this in balance. So look at the visual synchronicity of this purple. So it's very pale in this card, but it does actually kind of spiral around this cup. And we got this spiral. So we've got like a color palette and a shape motif kind of. There's a condensing, like a closing in on a goal. A portal that you can only go through together. So this may sound weird with everything I was saying in your strengths. It's like all of that energy is here, but do you see it? Do you enjoy it? Do you bathe in it? It's like, yeah, there's a ton of gratitude, but it's almost like in the I don't deserve it sort of way. What about really relishing it and that, oh my God, life with this person is just so good and I'm so lucky. Not, it's just so good kind of way. Not that you're lucky, but it's because it's yours and you deserve it, and yay, so celebrate it. Like, putting down that worry that they'll wake up and change their mind one day out of the blue. It just, I guess that does happen, but what is that taking from your present? And how might that energy create a self-fulfilling prophecy? Like, I can see someone here saying, I love this person so completely and feel like I want to connect on every level there is, but they always seem to be holding something back. Why can't I close the distance? Why is that? And ask yourself, what is your relationship to idealism? What can you shed to help you charge towards connecting on all levels? What keeps you from following your dreams? Because until you blend, okay, so here's where this is really important with your overall energy. Until you blend your energies on the other side of that trust barrier right here, this new energy can't be born. Your intuition knows exactly what they're talking about here. I don't. But with the Nine of Wands and the Knight of Cups, I want to say don't look down. Just look at your beloved. And I want to end this one with a Whitman quote I just saw. It was Valentine's Day and it was on Facebook. It says, "We were together. I forget the rest." And that's just it. You're together. Forget the rest. Okay? I look forward to talking to you next week. Thank you so much for spending this time with me.